Hi, my name is Drum and Lace. I'm a producer, composer, and performer, and I'm really, really excited to be part of this 4 Producers, 1 Sample challenge. So the sample was really, really great. I'm really glad that Andrew sent something that was so interesting and unique, and kind of weird, to be honest. I used the sample in a lot of different ways, and it was really, really fun to see how far I could stretch the sample to make both rhythms and pads, textures, and everything in general. So the way that I used this was within Ableton, and I used it in many different ways. So here in the session, let me open up. So I tried to divide this so it was clear for you guys to see. But essentially, the ways that I used the sample alone was with a sampler, as is, but stretched out in Paul Stretch. And then another sampler, another sampler, another sampler, another sampler, and then here with just some pitching and some stretching out. On top of using it as pads, I also used the sample to create rhythmic ideas. Once again, here in a sampler to create some hi-hat sounds, which you can hear. And then also as a snare, which you can hear here. I also additionally used it with another sampler to create kind of like this hissy effect up here. And to create more snare effects right here in the breakdown. So the main challenge that I had with the sample as a whole was trying to pitch it. So trying to find a way to make everything work together so that it sounded cohesive and so that I could add some pads and bass elements to kind of fill out the space. This I kind of did with a lot of experimentation and a lot of just kind of trying to match things, especially this sample, which I called Door Baby, was the hardest one to kind of pitch between itself. The end result was something like this. It really sounds like a baby speaking. I also did that here in kind of like the breakdown. To create a bit of a ghost baby of sorts. So all of the elements that were sampled all together sound like this. Let me solo everything. This guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. All right, so I'm just going to play it from... So all the elements you just heard are just all from the sample, which is incredible because it's the sample that just kept on giving. I kept trying to find ways to use it, and it just kept delivering on that. This was also really cool. I used a program called Paul Stretch to stretch this out. I believe this is stretched out 8 times, maybe 9. And it really gave that nice kind of shimmery effect to everything. Overall, this sample really took me out of my comfort zone, and I'm used to working with field recordings, but overall, I feel like it really kind of pushed the boundaries of what I could do, because usually I'll use a field recording for one thing and then move on. Instead, in this case, I really wanted to try to make the central focus of the whole track the sample, and it was hard at times, and I definitely went back and forth and kind of took a lot of things out and put them back in, but overall I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So to be able to play in all these different things within Sampler, I actually just used a MIDI device. So in this case, here I have a push set up, which was able to lend itself to making sounds. So this is ultimately the sound that you'll hear in this, is just kind of like a really, really low C that I pitched. And that was the foundation of everything that was built upon it. This other pad was also one of the main inspirations to starting this piece. And then, as I mentioned, the Door Baby was another thing which informed the actual tempo of the whole piece. So altogether, if we listen to this, let's say at the chorus, it sounds something like this. The few things that I used to kind of fill this out were just a few pads down here, most of which are either divas or zebras. And then for bass, I had a Moog grandmother kind of holding it down, as well as another zebra over here. Kept it very, very simple, tried to really not use too many things that weren't the actual sample. And I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Check out my YouTube channel where you can see more stuff that I do with field recordings. Thank you so much, Andrew, and to the other folks in the challenge. Or is this a challenge? I don't know, in this series. I'm so happy to have been able to do this. Thank you, Andrew, for pushing me past my comfort zone. Thank you for choosing such a strange, but wonderful sample. And check me out on social media. You can find my music on SoundCloud, on Spotify, on Bandcamp, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Drum and Lace. I need more coffee.